Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tech Opportunities webinar. I am Ana Santiago, Resident Services Administrator at CMHA. We're excited to have you join us today. Our presenter today, Mr. Joshua Edmonds, Chief Executive Officer, DigitalC, will share with you information on digital literacy tools, tech career pathways, and resources that can benefit both individuals and families. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Edmonds.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Joshua Edmonds, and it's always a pleasure to engage with our CMHA family. For those who don't know, I actually got my start, my professional career start, I would say, with CMHA. So it's always a blessing to be able to have a full circle moment, not only as their internet provider, but also as just a partner. And so to give you a high level understanding of DigitalC first, we are a nonprofit, so 501c3 nonprofit internet service provider. And what that means is that we're allowed to keep our costs low because we're not looking to shareholders to invest in this model. So for you all, the residents that we're able to serve, we offer services in two different packages. One for $18 a month. That's roughly 65 cents a day. And then the other is a free service that we provide that is subsidized through our relationship with the school district. For families who are interested in learning more about DigitalC, you can go to www.digitalc.org. That's DigitalC as in C, not like the water. And in addition to that, you can call our hotline, which is 216-777-3859 to learn more. What that's going to do, that's going to direct you to finding ways to either enroll in our service or to find about more information related to digital literacy and skilling. But before I get to explaining the benefits of digital literacy and skilling, especially in the context for today, that matters a whole lot. I wanted to share a little bit more about the branding within DigitalC. So that way I can direct you to the resources that matter most to you and your family's digital journey. First things first, our internet is called Canopy. So Canopy, almost if you could think of like a rainforest, we're essentially saying we got you covered. And so Canopy is our internet service. And again, in the name, it's because we got you covered. We also have Click, which is going to be very pertinent to our discussion today. Click is the branding that all of our digital literacy, of our digital skilling, any questions around tech support, all that falls under that Click umbrella. And the last thing is where we are currently headquartered, the Midtown Tech Hive, which is around 69th and Euclid, centrally located off the bus lines. And that's where you can pull up. If you want to work from our location, you can. But in addition to that, if you'd like to engage with our staff or you have questions, a lot of residents do come in, they might have questions about their bill, questions about the internet, questions about how to use their devices. We have a community space that's been tailored to meet your needs. So we're not just about wires, we're about opportunity. In this case, digital opportunity. And so to give you a little bit more progress from DigitalC, because I don't want anyone thinking that just because we're new, just because a lot of you might not have heard of us, doesn't mean that we're not established or doesn't mean that we're not able to get the results. So as early as tomorrow, we're looking to cross our 7,000th household and bring them to our network. So that translates to roughly 18,000 Cleveland residents are now using this DigitalC service. And so the beauty about this is we are headquartered in Cleveland. You know, and that's not a slight to the other internet providers here who are connecting our community diligently. But as DigitalC, and for any customer here, this is a homegrown effort built here. And so we built this for Cleveland, and it was built by Clevelanders. You know, the majority of our team lives in Cleveland, myself included. And so this is a point of pride that not only do we get to engage with you all through this format, but we also get to connect with you all, and we get to be a staple in this community. And so when we look at our partners, not only is it the city of Cleveland involved in this, Cleveland City Council, CMHA, the state of Ohio, the Mandel Foundation, the Myers Gun. There's so many different actors who are part of this because when Cleveland wins, we all win. And that has been the thinking that's been passed down throughout this endeavor. The other piece of this that I want to highlight is Cleveland is a national leader in this space. And so the connections and the story that we're doing locally has national implications. And so all the work that we're doing, I'll say it's very important that we take this moment seriously. So shifting gears to the information I believe is very pertinent for residents, for CMHA residents, not just CMHA, Cleveland residents in general, digital literacy and skilling. So first things first, when we look at the digital divide, Cleveland has historically been one of the most digitally divided cities in America. There's several reasons why that is, and we break that down in a few ways. One, residents who have access to the internet or not. Historically, a third of Clevelanders have not had access to home internet. When we think about job applications, we think about workforce opportunities, or even the ability to upskill or find out what's happening in the community or applying for benefits. You all know that's all happening online. And so if you don't have access to the internet, you don't have access to the opportunities to engage in those ways. In addition to that, if you don't have access to the tools that help you become more accustomed to how to navigate the internet, that's dangerous. We've seen people get their identity stolen. We've seen them getting hacked. We've seen them getting viruses. Like, our job is to protect residents online, no different than if we were giving you almost a driver's ed class. At this point, this is your license to drive on the information superhighway. That's what we call the internet. And so digital literacy and skilling is very important for us. What we like to say is the internet doesn't mean much if you don't know how to use it. That's why our Click team meets you where they are, step by step, no judgment. And that's important that I say no judgment, because oftentimes, especially with some of our older residents who walk in wisdom daily, saying that I don't understand something or I don't know something, that's not the easiest. That's not easy for humans in general, but it's really not easy when you have some of the older residents with all their pride. We love them for their pride. Admitting that they don't know something is tough. And I would say that first things first, that it's no one's fault that people don't know what's happening on the internet. And so this is a judgment-free zone, bias-free. When you engage with DigitalC and our Click team, as well as the people at the Midtown Tech Hive, we do this in a way to ensure that you all don't have to come in and be embarrassed about questions you want to ask. There are times where someone might come into our facility and they don't know that their battery might be defective on their laptop, and they've just been feeling guilty, thinking that it's something that they did wrong. It's like, no, technology isn't perfect. It has its mistakes. Nothing is perfect, but we can keep making adjustments. And so the approach to digital literacy and skilling we take is it has to be judgment-free. So this is the period where I'll say, for everybody who is listening to this, if you don't know something in technology, that is okay. But what is not okay is when people suffer in silence, because you can end up doing more harm than good. So one of the things that we do beyond creating a judgment-free atmosphere is we make it engaging. So we do have the classes that are listed on our website. Again, you can go to www.digitalc.org and you'll see the click button, click tab. When you go to the click, it will show you that we have standing classes at the Midtown Tech Hive that you can join. Those standing classes could look like, how do I navigate artificial intelligence? I'm hearing all this conversations about AI. What does that mean? We have a 101 class there. In addition to that, how do I protect myself online? Cybersecurity, as you all know, is it's increasingly becoming more important every day as we get a greater reliance from society with respect to internet. So if we do not create a culture where we are protecting one another online, there's vulnerabilities that can be exploited. And so for us, not only is it judgment-free, not only is it rooted in the now conversations related to AI, but it's also rooted in things that matter the most, which is protecting you and your families online and how to do that. The big thing that we emphasize, and this is what people can do even now, checking your passwords. If you've been using the same password over and over again, I know some of you are guilty of that. You need to be changing your passwords. It cannot be that you're using the same password for every device. That's a problem. It's recommended that you change your passwords often. Should you choose not to do that, that's like driving without a seatbelt. Can you get to your destination? Maybe, but you're putting yourself at risk. In addition to that, the other thing that we recommend is that people become lifelong learners, and that's for everybody. That's even for the young people, the older people. If you are going to be engaging online, it requires you to be a lifelong learner. You don't get to walk in and stay the same. The internet is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. And if you want to take full advantage of what the internet has to offer, you have to evolve with it. Now, it doesn't mean you got to change who you are, but it might mean that you have to change the way you think about technology. The big thing that we stress is when people say, I'm not good at technology. That's something that, we got to stop saying that. As a community, we have to stop saying that, because those attitudes do get passed down. And as you all know, the young people look towards the examples in front of them. And so if you're a grandmother or grandfather, or aunt, uncle, or whomever, and you're saying, I don't do well with technology, that philosophy gets passed down. And someone who could be doing well with technology, they hear you say that and they think, well, I'm not good at it either. So we do also take note of what is being said in classes and how people view themselves. You might not be the greatest with technology today, but that does not disqualify what you can do tomorrow. The big piece that we also emphasize too is with digital literacy and skilling, that the better you get with that, the more familiar you get, the better help you are to those around you. If you're in one of the actual living, one of the housing estates, this is where you help your neighbor. We believe in a model where neighbors should be connecting neighbors. The internet in many cases has made so many people insular in their homes where they don't want to go out. They just want to spend all their time on the internet. Okay, that is a thing. However, what we believe is that the internet can be a great connector, a connector of people. It does not have to replace that human connection. If anything, it should reinforce it. And so if you are that resident where technology might become easy to you, where for some reason you just get it more than others, we believe you have an obligation to helping your neighbors. And so for those of you who maybe it's a little bit easier for you to navigate your computers or your devices or online resources, help those around you, because it's not easy. And again, in Cleveland, we are one of the most digitally divided cities in America. So we do need well-meaning actors on the ground who are just here to help us. The name of the person that I would say in our team that handles majority of the digital literacy and skilling, and is a phenomenal asset to our team, that is Miss LaDonna Norris. And so if you all have an email that you are checking and using regularly, you can send her a message at ladonna.norris@digitalc.org. There you can learn about upcoming trainings. And this is the thing, this is a two-way street here. DigitalC, we are not in the position to tell everybody what to do. At the same time, on the flip side, we would like to hear more about what you all would like to learn. So you already heard me say the 101s, the basics, the AI classes, the cybersecurity. Our job is to be comprehensive and as holistic as possible to ensure that the residents that we are connecting to the internet, we're not connecting you just to go on YouTube or just to go on Netflix. Those things are great. We want you to enjoy that. But at the same time, we want to connect people to a greater world of opportunity that otherwise, that if they did not have that connection, they wouldn't see that. And so building those relationships and ensuring it's a two-way street. We don't know everything, but we know a lot. And you all know a lot too. And so that's the relationship that we approach this digital literacy and skilling part. So if you're already online, help a neighbor get connected. That's how we build our digital community. So as I look at even beyond, where it's not just digital literacy and skilling, the next stage up for us and what's to come is our shifting to digital empowerment. How are we enabling people to then build wealth? Like, these are the things that matter. As we look at what our forefathers have said for us, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you look how that manifests digitally from a life standpoint, how can the internet help improve our lives? How? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. And there's some very real examples. For some people that we are serving, and it might be even people watching this webinar, they are still paying their bills with cash. And that is okay. We understand that. But I think all of us can agree that we are moving on from a cash-based society. It's all digital now. I went to a restaurant the other day. They didn't even give me a menu. They told me to scan a code and I can order my food that way. So we don't want to be digitally left behind. And so as we look at life, this is a piece where we don't have the choice to opt out anymore. We are now opting in, and we're making sure that people are. So the emphasis on a better life is through digital connectivity. Now, that's not the only way, but we believe that is a very significant factor moving forward. When we say liberty, a lot of the election materials that you are seeing, or even even just the political landscape right now. Many of you all know that information is found online. In some cases, the internet is faster than even what's happening on the news when you're watching TV. By the time that news story comes out, that was on the internet, an hour or 2 hours ago. And so as you look at liberty, we look at government and civic engagement. If you're going to be an engaged resident, you need to be active online. And we say the pursuit of happiness, well, that just means well-being. This doesn't have to be that we're just connecting people to get internet and training you just so you can get a job. Now, getting jobs and workforce is very important, but that's not the only reason why. The internet is very enjoyable. Many of you can find examples of hilarious videos that will just bring tears to your eyes. But at the end of the day, that's not the only reason why people are getting connected, but that is a big major reason. Entertainment is huge. And so we don't tell people no. We will walk you through how to set up a streaming account. You hear maybe some of your friends bragging about that Netflix show, but you don't really know how to sign up for Netflix. We will teach you those things. We will even show you the value of this streaming platform over this one, different costs. Like there are ways to navigate this. And I would say that DigitalC, with the results that we've been able to garner here in Cleveland, it is undergirded by one value statement. We progress at the speed of trust. The infrastructure that exists between us is trust. The technology is something that we can solve for, but the people side is something that we're being very intentional about. And so as I look at the questions that we should be asking ourselves as residents, and this is what I want anyone who's watching this to ask: what do you wish that you could do more confidently online? What kind of training would help you or your family the most? How can DigitalC show up more in your community? These are questions that are level setting, trajectory setting for us to say, how do we build stronger relationships, not just with you all, but how do we create a community around us that is going to have a strong digital element to it? To answer the question about what do I wish I could do more confidently online, I wish that I could find a way to become significantly better at taking advantage of artificial intelligence. I believe that is the fastest growing thing. And for those of you who have grandchildren, nieces and nephews, they need to become aware of how others are using artificial intelligence to advance their businesses, to growing and scaling. This is our chance that if you're on the wrong side of the digital divide, you can catch up. With a little bit of intentionality, you can go a long way. When I look at what kind of training that I believe could help families the most, I believe there should be more trainings on how to generate wealth through digital tools. And so that is something that now we're going beyond, well, how do I type, to how do I generate wealth? These are the things that we should be asking ourselves. Then how can DigitalC show up more in the community? What I believe how we can show up more is by having more dialogue like this, while at the same time, just being more on the ground and building those relationships and not having a fear to go anywhere. We don't, but I think that just needs to be said. And so we don't service today every CMHA property with our internet, but we do service a large amount. And so for those of you who are inquiring about service, because look, it's around the holidays. Now's the time to save money. If you want to get some gifts for your kids or whatever, now's the time. And we offer $18 a month internet, or if a kid in the school district gets free. To sign up for that, again, you can go to www.digitalc.org, or you can call 216-777-3859. Or my personal favorite one is you can actually visit us at the Midtown Tech Hive at 6815 Euclid Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. I believe that's all the time that I have for you all today, but I do want to say I'm very appreciative for CMHA's continued support. And I wish you all the best of luck on your digital journeys, and may it protect you as you all continue to grow and thrive in this community in this day and age.